Hey everyone, Dr. Frunkey here with a knife consult that I've been waiting for a long time. Today we're going to talk about the Grimsmo Knives Norseman. When you buy the Norseman, they're going to send you this box. This is an awesome little pelican style case, hard plastic case that when you open it up, you're going to be presented with your knife as well as a few other things. So I want to go ahead and show you this knife, the Norseman, before I put my fingerprints on it. It comes in this really beautiful purple anodization. As soon as I touch it, it's going to get fingerprint marks all over it. So I've wiped it down and made it clean, just so you can appreciate in high resolution what this thing looks like when it's totally clean. But also to appreciate the other stuff that comes in this box. They send you a T9 driver because all the hardware is in T9. They send you an entire tube of 10-weight nano oil. And then if you lift this up and out, they send you some stickers, the birth certificate over here where they talk about that this is number 889, made of RWL 34, with a stonewash finish, the honeycomb distressed purple color, and silver hardware with the times and the date. So this was made only a few weeks ago as of the filming of this video. So what a nice case to send this in. I'm just super impressed by that right off the bat. This goes above and beyond what most custom makers are even doing nowadays. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this onto the screen, get the box out of the way, so we can talk about the Grimsmo Knives Norseman. This knife has been very popular for a number of years. To be perfectly honest, I don't really know when they started making the first Norseman, but I want to say it's been a number of years, like 5 or 6 at least. Tell me it's maybe even been more than that. Anyways, I remember seeing a Jim Skelton video on the Norseman where it was bright green, so of course I loved that knife. But ever since seeing that and then hearing more and more about it, I've wanted to get my hands on one. And then our good buddy Nick Shabazz had one for a good while, and he touted how awesome it was. And so, of course, I'm super thankful to my buddy Nico, who just happened to win the Maker's Choice lottery recently, and he picked up this one. This is the Norseman. So let's go ahead and get some vital signs on this guy. Up front, we have a blade measuring approximately 4 inches. If I can get that right on there, it's just going to be a hair less than 4 inches, maybe 3.9 inches, something like that right there. The overall length, I'll get that lined up again, is coming in at about 8 3/4 inches. The handle right here is a tick under 5 inches, with the grip area being about 4.3 inches right there. The overall height is going to be coming in above 1 inch right there. An interesting metric on this knife here is going to be the thinness of the handle. That's something I've been impressed by, and it comes in at 0.4 inches, so quite thin on the handle. And the blade stock is coming in at 125 thousandths right there. We can go ahead and get the overall height right here. Just at 1 inch right there. Just at 1 inch at that point right there. So, we have some measurements. Let's go ahead and bring out another couple of knives for a size comparison. Here is a Spyderco Paramilitary 2 and a Para 3. So you can see this is quite a large knife. Bigger, significantly bigger than the Paramilitary there. I'll go ahead and bring out some other high-end knives right here. Here's a Shirogorov F3, another 4-inch blade knife. The Shirogorov is a bit bigger. People who are considering the Norseman may also have one of these, a Koenig Knives Arius. So these are coming in at a similar overall size profile right there. Let's bring out, let's see, what else? We will do a Peter Rosenti Nirvana, because this guy does not get enough screen time. So this is a large overall knife. If you have experienced any of these knives, you know that this is a large knife. So this is going to be prohibitively large for some people in terms of the overall length. Let's go ahead and break this knife down anatomically. Up front, we have this very large blade of RWL 34 steel. Let me get these fingerprints off so we can see it looking really nice there. This is a unique blade because they've CNC milled this out of the block of RWL 34. And if you can see right there, the mill lines remain, the CNC mill lines remain on the blade, on that large primary hollow bevel right there. But what they have done is a hollow grind on the large bevel there. They've flat ground it out there, and then they've put an incredibly thin edge on it. I will say that they've done a spectacular job with the edge. This thing came incredibly sharp. The spine of the blade has been crowned, so very nicely done, and the whole blade has been sort of mirror stonewash, so a super nice user finish, a very high quality finish. RWL34 steel is the Damasce's proprietary stainless steel that they use. It's similar to CPM 154 in its overall chemical composition. It's a good steel. It's a very good steel. It will stand up to any of the uses that you need. Another nice thing is that it's got sort of a forward finger area right here, so you can choke up on the knife safely and start doing some finer work. I think I just need to mention that this blade is just a bit weird. It kind of looks like an alligator mixed with a hippo or something like that, maybe some kind of a weird bird. It's just sort of an unattractive blade to me, if I'm honest, but it does seem to be rather functional in some ways. If your primary cuts are going to be draw cuts, even push cuts will go very well because of this large recurved area right here drawing the material up to that point. If you need a blade that can push cut like that, then that's a thing. But, you know, I think this knife would have been really a lot more appealing to me personally if this had been a more traditional blade shape of some kind, or if they had offered it with such blade shapes. I may have tried to pick one up a little bit harder. But it's a funny looking blade to me. I do think, I do respect the engineering that went into it and the finish work that's on it. But I find the blade shape to be just unappealing, and that's why I've never really personally picked one up. But I can see the functional benefit in terms of everyday carry use. It won't function very well as a kitchen knife because of the strange geometry there, but it might function well as a cutter for most of those other everyday tasks. I did not use this knife heavily because it is not mine, and I was asked to not use it in any heavy way. But I have cut some paper with it, and it is quite sharp, and I can see how the blade shape would be useful. Moving back to the pivot and the detent system, this thing runs on ball bearings. I have disassembled this knife a couple of times on the channel so far, so head back and watch some of those videos with that in there. The pivot is one of the most talked about features of this knife because it's so unbelievably smooth. Everyone wants to compare the smoothness of their knife to the Norseman. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make that exact video. The smoothness is unlike any other knife that I've ever experienced. The way that the knife opens and then closes, there's almost no resistance to any of it at all. You can see how the blade falls down just like that. Now, I will complain a little bit here that the action is so smooth that every single time you drop it closed, the knife bounces off of the stop pin and out of the detent, which is a little bit unsafe because if you're moving quickly and you just do that, the knife will come right back open. So you really have to be aware that the knife is securely locked in the detent. Speaking of the detent ball here has been flattened. Perhaps you can see that at this angle. The detent ball is flattened, so that provides minimal resistance on the blade as it's opening and closing, contributing to that very smooth action. The detent is very, very crisp, and it works well as both a flipper and as a thumb deployment. I really enjoy the action on this knife in terms of the opening. I do think that the resistance could be a little bit more on closing to be a little bit safer. Moving back to the handle, these are some nicely done scales of titanium right here. They've done this one in the honeycomb pattern. They offered a few patterns. This one is pretty attractive right here, and they do a good job with their milling. The screws and everything are also made in-house. They really show off all of their work on their YouTube channel and their website on how they do everything. The clip is a piece of 3D milled titanium with a blind screw on the inside, hidden hardware I should say. There is a steel insert right here and an over travel stop on the inside of that lock bar right there. Is a good lockup, easy to disengage, and very, very nicely done there. The pocket clip is okay. It functions well. It's a little bit sharp on the end here, but it does work well in an everyday carry situation. The blade itself is not overly heavy. With those thin scales like that, the weight comes in at just under 5 ounces. It's also quite ergonomic in the hand. This very tall size fits nicely in the hand and it's not uncomfortable. So what do I think of the Grimsmo Norseman? Well, I never bought one because it just looks a little bit weird. It's a little bit big. It's going to be intimidating to anyone that you bring this out and show it to. And that action is too smooth. I don't know if there's such a thing as too smooth, and you can argue with me down below. But honestly, that's a little bit of an annoyance to me. So for those reasons, I haven't picked one up, but I certainly see and respect the engineering and quality going on here. Tell me what you guys think down below in the comments. Click like and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram as Dr. Frunkey. And as always, y'all, take care.